Here's the block all stripped down. I guess we'll have a final look at this and then move on to stripping the head down. This is number 1 cylinder. And the bores aren't that bad, like they would clean up with a hone and probably be fine, but it's getting scrapped, so oh well. Yeah, number 3 cylinder is the worst because it has the most rust in it. So you got your various holes in the deck for the head studs and the cooling galleries, and as well as the oil galleries to the top end. Like that hole right there would be an oil gallery. This one, the oil would just drain down from the top end through the front of the timing cover, which would be here. So then you got your various heater core outlets, and still got the engine mount, half the engine mounts on it, got the front strip and everything. We got the backing plate. Here should come off, but anyway. So here's a look at the other crankshaft bearings in the block, the other half of them. So they're not too badly worn, but they would be replaced if it was rebuilding it, of course. But yeah, and just sit in there just like so, and you got the little locking tang on the side, that little thing which goes in right there. But your thrust bearing down stuck in there really well. I'm not really gonna bother pulling all of them out because it really doesn't matter. But there, here you can see, if you look in the bore carefully from the bottom here, see where see this like little line right here. So this is where the piston would stop and continue going up. So like the piston is at the bottom of the bores. See, it's still there, just like that in all of them. So there's where the oil pickup would go. And we'll look at the side of the oil filter goes. You got your inlet for oil right here. Probably won't show up on camera, but it's right in there. And then so your oil goes through the oil filter and goes back to the bearings through the center hole or stud, whatever you want to call it, with the threads or the filter studs on. This here has got a spring-loaded ball bearing. This is your oil filter bypass valve. So if your oil filter gets clogged up, it's still better having dirty oil than no oil to the bearing. So this would open from excess oil pressure and bypass the filter. So this engine would not need a oil filter that has a built-in bypass valve. It's kind of similar like Chevy stuff and GMs, that mostly all of them, like the 4.3s, and use all built-in oil filter bypass valves in the block versus having one in the filter. So there's the oil pressure sender right there. It's shot by now probably. So you got your dipstick tube. Starter would obviously go there, only it would bolt into the transmission bell housing, and it would just stay right here. Oh yeah. And then that's for water galleries right here. So I guess that's it for the block, and now let's move on to here's the head and valve cover. Got the camshaft sprocket for the timing chain that we're driven off of. The valve cover is how it looks like together. If you're wondering why this looks so much a Mercedes straight 6, it's because Nissan copied their design. It's very similar, right down from the valve cover right down to the valve train assembly. For instance, the tappets and cam setup. This does not have any sorts of hydraulic tappets on it, so you do need to adjust these periodically. You just adjust it through here by sticking a feeler gauge in between the tappet and the cam lobe. So yeah, you got 4 cam bearings. They're a single piece, they don't split in half, so you have to remove this retaining plate up front to remove it. And this clamp would just slide out. First I will loosen these off so we get the tension from the valves off the cam lobe, so the cam can slide out easily and remove it completely. So side of the head, that's where the fuel pump would go, be driven off the camshaft, or oh yeah, that's right, there would be an extra cam lobe bolted onto the sprocket, the eccentric lobe that would drive the fuel pump, which would go right here, the little diaphragm. Fuel pump's just like on a 350. And spark plug holes, heater, core outlet or inlet, and that goes your switch. This is where your manifolds would go. You got your square holes, these here, exhaust, and you got two round ones for the intakes. You get your water outlet. And yeah, you got little holes in each cam lobe for lubrication. Cam's off. There's the cam towers or mounts, whatever you call them. But like I said, there's no shell bearing these or anything. Just the aluminum of this is the bearing surface, as you can see. So when these wears off or you spin a bearing, you just have to replace the whole part. These don't have much wear in them at all. Hold up really well. There's you got your oil gallery hole right there. Each one of them, you can see the little hole right there. That's where the oil goes in too. Just like that, and each one of them you can see you got the little side hole. Yeah. Here's the cam. It's in decent shape, but would need a regrind because you can see it's got rust on the lobes and some pitting on the bearing journal surfaces. But yeah, you can see it's got little holes, oiler holes in every single cam lobe for extra lubrication with the tappets. Yeah. It's not too bad, but you know, it's got wear on it. Here the cam just rides on these, and these directly push the valve down out, as well as you got this little thing that sits on top of the keepers to keep this guy aligned. That's all this guy is. To adjust it, you just turn these two here. You loosen this off and then turn this one up tighter or looser, and it goes up and down. And tighten that down, and that gives you your various valve adjustments. Yeah. These should come out. You're just stuck in with oil. There we go. That's all it is. This little thing. And the tappet rides on. These aren't too bad, but then again, you can see right in the middle there. That's where the focus right there. See the little worn part? That's where the most of the pressure from the cam lobe is, and so these also would have to be either reground or replaced if you're rebuilding it. So yeah, let's pull these off, and then we'll get to pulling the valves out. That's how the combustion side of the head looks like. That's the really rusty cylinder there, full of rust, and that's the one that blew the head gasket. You can see all the dried coolant around it. I got one valve out. Here it is. I got the worst one out just to show you how bad this engine, how bad this head is. I'm not gonna pull all of them because this way it's taking way too long. But you can see where the valve seating surface is. The valve seat's really bad. It's even worse in the head. So it does have two valve springs for valve. You got a smaller inner one, which is not that hard. You can still squeeze it by hand, and you got your outer one, which is very hard. You barely squeeze it. You got your retainer that goes on top like so. You got your two keepers. Here's one of them that when you compress the spring, you slide these wedge keepers in. They sit in there and they lock they hold up against the valve stem and hold the valve in. Show you how that works. Yeah, so you get the idea how it works. It's the wedge, two-piece wedge that holds the valve in. So yeah, I guess that's it of this engine tear down. This video's getting long enough. It's already a 4-part series. So overall, this engine's not too bad, but just the worst part on it is the head. That is what failed on it. It's the head gasket or Either that or the head is cracked, which I'm not going to test it or anything because it really doesn't matter at this point. But so yeah, I guess that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed my 4-part engine DATSUN L16 engine teardown series, and thanks for watching.